So for today, we will be discussing the Title 16 of the RCCP, and that is the investigations, offenses, and penalties. Okay, so the objective of this report, in here, we aim to learn what are the powers vested or given to the expressly given to the Commission or the Securities and Exchange Commission. So let's start with this one. What are we going to talk about under this title? We will be talking about the investigation and prosecution of offenses, administrative of oath, subpoena of witnesses and documents, cease and desist orders, contempt. So these are basically the powers expressly given to the Securities and Exchange Commission. So, and of course, the penalties will be discussed as well. And my report will end up to section 162, that is the willful certification of incomplete, inaccurate, false, or misleading statements or reports and its penalties. Section 154, investigation and prosecution of offenses. SEC. When we talk about commission, we are talking about the Securities and Exchange Commission. SEC may investigate an alleged violation of this code or of a rule, regulation, or order of the Commission. SEC may also publish its findings, orders, opinions, advisories, or information concerning any such violation as may be relevant to the general public or to the parties concerned, subject to the Data Privacy Act of 2012 and other pertinent laws. SEC also shall give reasonable notice to and coordinate with the appropriate regulatory agency prior to any such publication involving companies under their regulatory jurisdiction. So, under Section 154, what are the powers of the Securities and Exchange Commission? These are the power to investigate an alleged violation of RCCP or of the rule, regulation, or order of the Commission, power to publish its findings, orders, opinions, advisories, or information concerning any such violation as may be relevant to the general public or to the parties concerned, subject to Data Privacy Act of 2012 and other pertinent laws. They shall also give reasonable notice to and coordinate with the appropriate agency prior to such publication involving companies under their regulatory jurisdictions. Now, let's proceed to Section 155. For Section 155, these are the administration of oaths, subpoena of witnesses, and documents. So, what are the given functions or powers? What are the powers given to SEC, expressly given to Securities and Exchange Commission here under Section 155? So these are the power to, they may actually administer oath and affirmations. They may issue subpoena and subpoena duces tecum. This is a writ ordering a person to attend a court and bring relevant documents to support such claim. They are to take testimony in any inquiry or investigation, and they may perform other acts necessary to the proceedings or to the investigation. Section 156, cease and desist orders. Whenever the Commission has reasonable basis, when can they actually issue this cease and desist orders? Whenever the Commission has reasonable basis to believe that this person has violated or is about to violate the RCCP or any rule and regulation or order of a lawful order of the Commission, it may direct such person to desist or to stop from committing the acts constituting such violation. The Commission may issue a cease and desist order, ex parte, to enjoin an act or practice which is fraudulent or can be reasonably expected to cause significant, imminent, and irreparable danger or injury to public safety or welfare. The ex parte order shall actually last or shall actually be valid for the maximum period of 20 days, without prejudice, of course, to those being issued permanent by after due hearing, notice and hearing. Next, thereafter, the Commission may proceed administratively against such person in accordance with Section 158 of this code, and or transmit evidences to the Department of Justice for preliminary investigation or criminal prosecution, and or initiate criminal prosecution of any for any violation of this code, rule, and regulation. They may also cite a person in contempt. Who can be cited in contempt? That's a question. Any person who, without justifiable cause, fails or refuses to comply with any lawful order, decision, or subpoena issued by the Commission shall, after due notice and hearing, be held in contempt and fined in an amount not exceeding 30,000 pesos. When the refusal amounts to clear and open defiance of the court, commission's order, decision, or subpoena, the commission may impose a daily fine of 1,000 pesos daily until the order, decision, or subpoena is complied with. Section 158, Administrative Sanctions. If, after due notice and hearings, SAC finds that any provisions of this code, rules, or regulations, or any of the Commission orders has been violated, the Commission may impose any or all of the following sanctions, taking into the consideration the extent of the participation, nature, the effects, the frequency, and seriousness of the violation. First, they can impose a fine ranging from 5,000 pesos to 2 million pesos and not more than 1,000 pesos per day of each continuing violation, but in no case to exceed 2 million pesos. Issuance of the permanent cease and desist order, suspension or revocation of the certificate of incorporation. They can also say do or order the dissolution of the corporation or forfeiture of its assets under the conditions in Title 14 of this code. Section 159, unauthorized use of corporate name. Of course, if it is unauthorized, we expect penalties. So what will be the penalty then? The unauthorized use of corporate name shall be punished with a fine ranging from 10,000 pesos to 200,000 pesos. Violations of disqualification provision. First of all, who are disqualified? Who are those disqualified uh who are those disqualified directors, trustees, or officers that can be found under section 26 of this code? And for easier reference, I wrote it here. Disqualification of directors, trustees, or officers. A person shall be disqualified from being a director, trustee, or officer of any corporation if within 5 years prior to the election or appointment, as such, the person was convicted by final judgment of an offense punishable by imprisonment for a period of 6 years. For violating this code or the RCCP, for violating the RA 8799, otherwise known the Securities Regulation Code. And then next is found administratively liable for any offense involving fraudulent acts. And by a foreign court or equivalent foreign regulatory authority for acts, violations, or misconduct similar to those enumerated in paragraphs A and B above. Of course, the foregoing is without the prejudice to the qualifications or the other disqualifications which the Commission, the primary regulatory agency, or Philippine Competition Commission may impose in its promotion of the good corporate governance or as a sanction in its administrative proceeding. So let's go back. Violation of disqualification, what will be the penalties? Sorry, it's my asthma. When, despite the knowledge of the existence of a ground for disqualification as provided in Section 26, a director, trustee, or officer willfully holds, despite knowing that he is disqualified, he still willfully holds office or willfully conceals such disqualification, such officer, director, trustee shall be punished with a fine ranging from 10,000 pesos to 200,000 pesos. at the discretion of the court and shall be permanently disqualified from being director, trustee, or officer of any corporation. He will be barred. When the violation of this provision is injurious or detrimental to the public, the penalty shall be a fine from ranging from 20,000 to 400,000 pesos. So, violation of a duty to maintain records to allow their inspection or reproduction, and will be the penalties. The unjustified failure or refusal by the corporation or by those responsible for keeping and maintaining corporate records to comply with sections 45, 73, 92, 128, 177, and other pertinent rules and provisions of this RCCP on inspection and reproduction of records shall be punished with a fine ranging from 10,000 pesos to 200,000 pesos at the discretion of the court, of course, taking into consideration how serious the violation is and what are the implications. When the violation of this provision is injurious and detrimental to the public, the penalty is a fine ranging from 20,000 pesos to 400,000 pesos. The penalties imposed under this section shall be without prejudice to the Commission's exercise of its contempt power under Section 157 hereof, which we discussed already prior. So, the last provision that I will be talking about or discussing is the willful certification of incomplete, inaccurate, false, or misleading statements or reports. Penalties. Any person who willfully certifies a report required under this code, knowing that the same contains incomplete, inaccurate, false, or misleading information or statements, shall be punished with a fine ranging from 20,000 pesos to 200,000 pesos. When the wrongful certification is injurious or detrimental to the public, the auditor or the responsible person may also be punished with a fine ranging from the 40,000 pesos to 400,000 pesos. Okay, next reporter will continue section 163 and until section 167. I think that's all for tonight. Thank you so much.